Hey, y'all, let's talk about something called negative sentiment override. Y'all have probably never heard of this, but it is a term borrowed from relationship expert John Gottman. I highly recommend his books. Negative sentiment override is the relational tendency that we have to put on a dark and cloudy lens when we interpret things from some people. It is most commonly described in marital relationships when one spouse or both spouses interpret essentially everything that the other spouse does in some negative light. A request to take out the trash becomes a question of the spouse's decision making. A simple question about what time you will be home is perceived as an attack. The list could go on, but hopefully you get the picture that it is a situation in which one person just cannot win. Usually, if it is going on one way with the spouse, it is also going the other way with the other spouse, and both of them are in negative sentiment override. So there is almost always an understandable reason for them getting to this point. If they would take the time to figure it out, they could figure it out. If that describes you and your spouse, I highly recommend getting curious about why this is the case between the two of you. A podcast series I like called Couples in Focus with Michael Preston would get you a much better understanding of the usual reasons that is the case. Now, let's think about negative sentiment override when it comes to our children. How do you relate to your children? Do you relate to them with a tone that sends the subtle message that they just can't ever get anything right in your eyes? That whatever they do is deficient enough to frustrate you? Are you chronically frustrated? Sighing tones, pregnant pauses, sharp answers, sarcastic answers. Unfortunately, I see this so frequently in the office. The negativity about simple little mundane things seems to be ever present in some families. This would be incredibly demoralizing and deflating to a child because they don't have any other type of mental framework to process this other than that there is something wrong with them to always be getting things wrong. They are just messed up and are never going to measure up to the standard that the parents have set for them. This is so incredibly unfortunate for the child. There is so much more that could be said about this topic, but we all need to step back and look at the way our manner of speaking comes across to our children. Our tones, our words, our pauses, our not responding because we are on our phone, the things we don't say. Are we setting a positive tone around the house with them, or are we setting a negative tone around the house with them? Constant negativity will erode relationship, trust, and overall happiness. If you like practical pediatric and relational advice, keep on following and subscribing.